Hi there, Omar here for another awesome SVGs project. Today with this birthday crown that I made for my mom. As you all might know, my mother's turning 70. I hope she doesn't hear this. So I used this glitter cardstock from Die Cuts with a View. It's a great glitter paper. It's not much of a cardstock, it's very thin, but it cuts beautifully on your machine. It comes in a variety of colors, and for this crown you will need a 12 by 12 pack. These papers also come in a 6 by 6 pad that you can use for cards or smaller embellishments. But for this crown you will need the 12 by 12 if you want to make this crown for an adult. I wanted a sturdy cardstock for the back of the crown because the front paper is very thin, so I cut it out of craft cardstock and I used distress paint to color it. I used black soot, distress paint, and brushed pewter. The way you paint the cardstock is very easy. Use a craft mat because this is an acrylic paint and you could get paint all over your surface, and it's kind of hard to remove once it's dry. Now start just pouncing the color on the cardstock, and don't worry too much about covering it all. Once you finish this technique, you will see that it is better if you have kind of splotches of color or lines of color. The good thing about distress paints is that because it's acrylic paint, it will dry harder, and you will end up with a much more firm or firmer cardstock or crown in the end. Now, as you can see on the left side of the paper, I had already practiced the technique, so I'll just show you how you continue after applying the black. If you have black cardstock, just leave it as it is and start applying the brushed pewter instead. After speeding up the drying process with your heat tool, make sure you clean your mat to go to the next step, and start applying your brushed pewter distress paint. Dab a little on your craft mat, and without pressing too hard, with a very light hand, go over your cardstock in strokes in just one direction. Don't go back. Do not apply a second coat either. What you want is this brushed effect on top of the black paint. Now, make sure you don't move your cardstock too much like I did here. You will start getting brushed pewter distress paint on the back of the cardstock, and you don't want this. There is a way to fix it though, don't worry too much about it. Make sure you dry up the paint very well using your heat tool, or just wait a couple of minutes. And here you can see that I got some brushed pewter distress paint on the back of my cardstock. Don't worry too much, I will use this for the front of the crown that will be covered with a glitter paper. So go back again with your brushed pewter distress paint on top of the black paint with a very light hand without pressing too much because of the dauber on the tip of these bottles. If you press too hard, you will get a blob of paint, and you don't want that. You want this brushed effect. You see me here holding the cardstock so it doesn't move and it doesn't get paint on the back. Clean your mat thoroughly, dry it up with your heat tool, and then I decided I needed some pop of color because the color theme of the party is purple. I decided to use wilted violet distress paint on top of the brushed pewter. The good thing about this paint is that it will still shine through this wilted violet if you apply a very light coat with a very light hand. So just go over your cardstock, with your wilted violet distress paint. If you don't have these distress paints, you can also use a stencil brush with just a little bit of paint on it. These daubers are much easier to use though. You don't want to cover the whole thing with the paint. Just go here and there to give it kind of like a shine, a violet shine. Dry it up using your heat tool. And when I tried my glitter paper on top of the inked surface, I decided it was too light, so then I applied one more coat of black distress paint, black soot distress paint, just to give it more contrast. Now here you see the front, that it has a nice brushed effect, and the back, the front with a violet tint. Now using your heat tool, you can finish drying your project, or you can leave it like that and wait a couple of minutes for it to dry. Now you see there is more contrast against the glitter paper. Using some spray adhesive, put your project in a box so you don't get adhesive all over the place, and start centering your glitter paper on top of your back piece. Align it so it's centered. Make sure you don't get wrinkles on the paper. You can also use tweezers if you want to, if you feel more comfortable. Now press it against the surface, and before it dries completely, start curling your crown, and for that you will take your bone folder or a pan if you want, and lift one side of the cardstock. That's how you get the curl. Now to let it dry and make sure the shape stays, I put the crown in between a couple of sheets. These are 60-pound cardstock. I think it's an 8.5 by 13 inches cardstock. Put it in between, make sure it's straight, and start curling from one side. Here you can see the crown is in the middle, and put a couple of pieces of masking tape to hold it in place. Leave it like that overnight. This glue takes a while to set. And once you're done, remove your crown. And here you can see is curled completely, and the paper in the front is not wrinkled or is not bent either. I finished the crown using some multimedia matte glue and flat bag rhinestones in different colors. You can go over to my blog to see more pictures of the finished project, so you can see the different colors of rhinestones that I used. I used purples and pinks and these flowers on the bigger circles of the crown. This is a very strong glue that will hold your rhinestones very well on the glitter cardstock. Make sure you use a strong glue for this. You can embellish this crown using any embellishment you want to. You could use a sequins, glitter glue, whatever you want to. Now this part is just optional. These are the embellishments on the sides that cover the elastic band if you want to use any, or the rubber band if you use any. Put a little bit of glue on the back of the cardstock and just glue your glitter paper on top. You will need this thicker cardstock for this. Now take a rubber band, cut it and feed it through the hole in the corner. make a knot or two in the end. Now feed it through the other hole on the other end of the crown, and also do a couple of knots. You can skip the use of a rubber band altogether if you want to, because you could fix the crown on the head of your subject using bobby pins or hairpins if you want to. Now I didn't want the look of the rubber band coming out of the crown like that, so I put 2 pieces of double-sided adhesive. This is a very strong adhesive. Make sure it's glued correctly to the glitter paper. Sometimes it's a good idea to burnish the adhesive on the glitter cardstock if you want to. Center the big round shape or the big circle on the embellishment with the circle where the rubber band is coming out, and press up and down. This way your rubber band will still be adjustable. Now do the same on the other side. Put 2 pieces of double-sided tape. Remove the release paper. Make sure the rubber band is not caught on the adhesive, and put your embellishment on top. Press on both sides of the rubber band, and there you go. Your elastic band is adjustable, and you can cut any excess of that rubber band if you want to. I wish I had some pictures of the finished project on my mom's head. The birthday is this Saturday, and I wanted to share this with you guys before the birthday. I will make sure to upload pictures of the party on my blog, so make sure to check out the blog on www.awesomesvgs.com, and also you can download the project on the blog post. The link to the post is on the description below, along with the list of supplies I used to make this project. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.